page. Thanks so much for that. I think we were hoping for significantly more people, but the recordings hopefully will be washed. Thank you so much, Jax. Thank you so much, Em. Thank you so much, Marilee, my co-lecturers. I don't know whether Kim is joining us. I'm sure she'll pop in when she's here. So this is a bit of a strange one, and I think it's a strange one for all of us as lecturers, because in the past we had a pretty good idea of what to guide and what to suggest, and how you should approach the exam. I think we are flying a little bit blind, and I think it is the consequence of a new module lead. It's the consequence of a new developer, because it does have a completely different feel to what we had in the past. Having said that, we can only attempt to suggest what you need to do in terms of getting ready for the exam. We don't see the exams. I certainly haven't had a glance at the exam, not without trying, but I haven't had a glance at the exam. And then obviously, these are recommendations, these are suggestions. The reality is that you have to study everything. Whatever I'm showing next still doesn't matter in terms of what the standard is. I would start by learning units 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I think for me, that is the non-negotiable. Once you've done that, then we can look at some of the suggestions that I have and that we as lecturers have put together. So to me, that is the approach. The non-negotiable here is study everything. These are suggestions, these are recommendations. And please don't go and say, Henny said that we only need to do this, because I've said twice now that you need to study everything. So I've worked through this. Yeah, none of that matters at this point. You can see the types of questions. It's given us an idea here in terms of what you need to do. For me, these are the additional non-negotiable. I would work out the answer to this. I have received a couple of WhatsApps today from some of my students asking for guidance in terms of this. This is non-negotiable. Work out your answers. So if these make an appearance, you can absolutely nail those in terms of the question. Please also, when you work out these answers, spend a bit of time looking at the different cases, trying to figure out what belongs to where, because you have to familiarize yourself with what's in the suggested cases that may, or that will, one of them will appear. I think in terms of this, guys, just make sure that you give us the balance between theory and application. Look at what is expected in terms of whatever rubrics are there. Make sure that you get the balance right. And that balance is important. Generally, you would have your theory, but you would have a little bit more application, because we've always allocated, in terms of the subject, more for allocation. So in terms of the cases, please work through them. Please highlight them. You can see some of the questions here. Again, work out the answers. Make sure that you have answers ready, and spend a bit of time, again, finding where these are in the different cases, and then with the same with all of these. I would work these out. I wouldn't risk waiting for this until too late. What I've done is put together, with the help of AI, a series of questions, suggested case study questions, etc. Again, these are suggestions. There's no crystal ball here, guys. How's it, Kim? These are suggestions. So I've brought the cases into the suggested questions. What ChatGPT did, it looked at the potential examination themes based on the content. I've had a glance at this. I agree with Chat. It's pretty accurate in its interpretation. And then what it's given us is a series of, yeah, I want to say, high probability learning unit 3 questions, high probability 4, 5, and 6. Now, what I would do is, once I've learned the learning units, I would attempt to answer these questions, because it gives you an indication of where you are in your preparation. So you'll see that for each of the cases I've done this. It's unlikely that you'll have an integrated question. But again, we have a new developer, we have a new module lead. So we're a little bit hesitant to say you're not going to get that one. In terms of these revision areas, this is what I would look at the night before the exam. Absolutely, Lolita. Obviously, yeah, no, we'll make sure that the that the document will be shared. I think there should be a deduction for silly questions. So no, we're only showing you this. We're not allowing you to get access to it. Sorry, Lolita, you're not one of my students. I'm quite sarcastic. You'll get used to that. So in terms of this is the stuff that I would look at the night before the exam. To also just say in terms of this, guys, I would also compare what's in the different cases that I've given you in terms of the suggestions. A lot of it is overlap. A lot of it is overlap. In the past, the stuff we knew to expect would always have been a bit on the balance scorecard, would have always been Porter's five forces, would have always been the pestle analysis. We always expected those, but we don't know at this point in time. So that is the first one. I've done the same thing for the others. It's not in the correct order. I don't know which one I've just looked at there. It's not in the correct order. So this is fresh stop, the same process. You can see the likely examination themes based on the content of the case study. And then you can also see suggested questions. These are the bits that I would test my knowledge closer to the time for each of these. You'll see also that, yeah, there is an integration question there. Insofar as the next one is concerned, very clearly, again, a whole bunch of suggestions there, examination themes. And remember, these things are the things you would look at the night before in your preparation. And then there are some revision areas. So there's a lot of overlap. So you'll see some, we don't have revision areas suggested because the overlap is so significant with others. And then and I've done it for each of these guys. I've done it for each. There's Mr. Price. The one thing, Kim and M and Murray, that I can't remember is I've not seen any of these case studies previously. Is there one? Because normally they would select 4+1 from the previous year. For me, all 5 of these are brand new. I don't know if I've got that wrong.
I also agree with you, Dr. Henny. On the full-time program with third year as well, I totally feel a bit blindsided being new developer, like you were saying, new developer. Even after the assignment, I'm very wary. I put caution to the wind.
Yeah. So for the assignment, I've been asked to proofread for second semester, and I've taken out big chunks. Not that it affects us, but it does affect Jax. So when you get this, Morally, I think you also lectures 7321 in second semester. Is that correct? Okay. Yeah. So guys, you've got some of your
2-1 on the
past
full-time
students
campus, so
here.
it will affect us as well.
Okay. So for 7322, nothing new there, but 7321, there's definitely, I've suggested we take out chunks, and hopefully it'll be a lot more logical.
I'm so glad you're involved.
Yeah, well, I hope what I've asked happens. I've been told they'll do it. So hopefully there will be some difference. Guys, so the same process is followed for each of these. Okay. I see the priority revision areas have been left off, but I think once you've done the comparison in terms of these priority revision areas, it'll give you a nice picture of what the final things. So the format is here. I don't know who is bothering me here. Sorry, just hold on a second so I can block someone on my phone. No. Irene, I did absolutely nothing. It will definitely be shared. This is ChatGPT. I did check it, and then I just stuck the case study into it. But thank you. It is a pleasure. I don't even know what I was going to say after I got irritated. I became irritated. So all 5 of these are here. And seriously, guys, I have a sense. Oh, there was a question on what the exam would look like. Sorry. If I look here, where is the IIE exam prep? So when we look at this, okay, there, there's a little bit confusion here. So you're not going to be asked straightforward theory questions. Okay, so you're not going to ask define strategic management. Okay, you're not going to get that, Azra. Um, if we look at some of the suggestions, short questionnaire, but all of these, I would hope, will be within the context of the case. Having said that, know your theory incredibly well. So for me, from what I understand, is that that is our expectations. I did feed this into chat, and I think it should all align to the case study that you're given. I know that my
Dr. Henny, it's
students have
quite
already,
interesting. Sorry, I
yeah,
don't know
go
if you
in.
picked it up. If you're looking at the mark allocation, it says the least mark allocation is 2 marks. I haven't seen that
Yeah,
before, ranging from 2 to 14 marks.
I saw that. I don't know how you get
I
an
don't know if that's a
application
typo,
for two.
and I like also I've never seen them ask random definitions at a third year level also. So I'm not, that also looks, if they ask for a straight definition kind of thing, that's also might be a bit
Yeah,
new.
Sorry,
but
and
I
I'm
think
also just
hopefully,
chipping in.
yeah.
Hi, Henny.
Hi, how's it, Kib?
Hello. Yeah, no, listen, I also don't think, definitely not straight definitions, but I just want to tell the students, so all the groups, hello everyone, just to make sure, I know the theory is important if you iterate it, but guys, also on third year level, the application always weighs more. So even if we look at the assignments, even though we don't know the structure, we know that application is going to be important. So please, guys, don't just learn the theory. Make sure that you are applying it. We've got the case studies. We can go and prepare the case studies. I always tell my students, when you are lying in bed at night now, instead of going to scroll through Facebook or something, go through the case studies. So go and read about all the different case studies, just so that you have a good idea of what's happening.
Yeah, guys, I suppose also what you can do, if you are quite good with ChatGPT, you can shove the case study into ChatGPT and ask it to link it to these suggested questions. I'm not going to have the time to do that. So, yeah, so we're definitely sharing this. But, guys, I think the fact remains the same in terms of every exam. Know your stuff from learning unit 3 to 7. Trust our slides. The one thing I know about the lecturers here is that our slides are fantastic. My students, you can study only from my slides. The textbook, we filter out all the superfluous stuff. So trust our slides. I think that's important. Don't try and study from the textbook. Also, if you need to make your own notes from our slides, I cannot study from other people's work, so I generally would have to create my own notes. So get all of that sorted way before the time. When is this exam?
I can check for you now. It's in my diary. I'll tell you now.
It's at 8th
I
of
think it's
June.
the 8th
Okay.
of June.
Okay, yeah. So I don't track that. Oh my gosh, that's close by. That is close by. So I think you have a sense of what to expect. I know that Kim did some fantastic work last week as well in terms of what to expect from the exam. And I think with these two together, and you can please use these documents. Yeah, I'm hoping that it's going to go incredibly well. Having reminded that we don't see the paper, so all of these are suggestions, but we hope that they're fairly accurate. That's the best we can do. Okay.
Also, just to chip in from the sideline, sorry,
Yeah, no
that
problem.
we're from Learning Unit 3, so please don't learn Learning Unit 1 and Learning Unit 2. If you haven't seen the brief, don't learn Learning Unit 1 and Learning Unit 2.
Absolutely. There's some arbitrary comment about that. But I think it would be unfair to ask a question from it when it does not reveal the exact, instead it provides, I don't know, something, maybe it is in the 7322 one where okay, maybe it is, there's something different in 7322, which suggested they will, that, you need to also just be aware of what happens in the other learning units. Only learning 3 to 7 here, guys. That's what we're doing. Okay. Yeah. Oh, those learning outcomes are important. Just to say, in terms of these documents that I've created, I loaded the learning outcomes into chat. So chat considered the learning outcomes, the case study, my slides. So I uploaded all my slides as well. And this is what was spat out. Okay. So all of that was considered in designing this. So my prompt was quite significant. I don't know if I'm going to find the prompt. So yeah, everything went in, including the outcomes, including what was the content of my slides. Okay. Guys, I don't know if there are any specific questions. So I tried to do as much work pre this so that you can take something and run with it from here. Thanks for that, Jax. Yeah, so my class will get this on ARC. It's already been on WhatsApp for a day. Okay. I can never share any IIE documents. I get blocked on that. So I don't know, my permissions don't allow me to share those. That's the one thing I can't do. And in fact, was locked out of this document because I copied stuff from it for some reason and I have to switch off and restart. So I can't share this document. You'll get a blank thing from me. Okay. Have you got a PDF version? Maybe we can share that, Jax. Thank you so much. We can share that and we'll make sure that everyone gets that on ARC as well and on our WhatsApp groups. Okay. Has anything else? Azra, that would be fine. Just remember, you would have to have at least the slides that you are studying from, okay, to do that. You're most welcome to do that, but just make sure that you have to have the slides available because it's just going to search for answers in anywhere it can find it. So go and load your slides along with that question. Okay.
Also, can I just add on to that? Sorry, from the sideline. Just make sure that if you're using chat to learn, make sure chat is correct. I've had it in my second years where they've used ChatGPT and it asked for macro environment and it answered micro environment, for example. So make sure the ChatGPT gets it correct. Make sure you know the content that you're learning. Make sure it's correct if you're going to use an outside source.
Yeah, absolutely. And load your slides. Please don't do it and just ask for the answers. Load your slides. Okay. Whatever summaries you have of the textbook. But Emma's right. You have to check the detail here. Okay. Anything else, guys? I mean, I don't know what more I could have done in terms of this, and I hope that this is sufficient to get everyone through. To also just say, to go back to the very first one I opened, and in the olden days when we started doing this and when we were used to what people asked, you were almost guaranteed to get those. You were almost guaranteed to get those each time. I don't know if it's large enough for you to see that. You're almost guaranteed to get those each time. That to me has always been part of what was, but we don't know what we're doing at this point. Yeah, no, it'll be on ARC. It'll be on ARC, guys. Yeah, it definitely will be on ARC.
And also, sorry, Henny, if I can also just jump in, just not a theoretical tip, but just a tip that I've just experienced with the students over the years is often they don't stick to the mark allocation and then they don't finish the exam. That is a very big problem with our third years. So I always tell the students, remember, you are working for 100 marks. You have 2 hours to write. So even if you just set yourself the time to say 1 minute per mark. That gives you at least 20 minutes to then catch up with anything or do that. But I often have students who write beautiful question 1 and question 2, but then they've written so much for question 1 and so much for question 2 that they don't get time to write question. Remember, guys, time goes very quickly when you're writing. So I always just tell the students, just be mindful. Don't go to the exam without a watch. I know it sounds like so silly, guys, but just take it from a wise old owl. Go to the exam, make sure you have a watch on, and make sure you're watching the time because time goes very quickly, especially when you are writing a third year paper, when you are applying, when you are writing theory, you know, sometimes you don't always get to the end of the paper. And I know that's often as lecturers say, oh, the students did so well, but they didn't do question 3, 4, and 5, and that's half of the paper. So if you are writing question 1 and you see you have spent 20, 25 minutes on it, then move on to the next question. Rather try and finish everything and have a good base, but, you know, instead of spending so much time faffing over one question. I hope that makes sense, hey?
Yeah, so and 100% and wonderful, Kim, wonderful, because that's the one thing that you are going to find each year. We find that people haven't finished because they didn't check the timing. Okay. To also just say, in terms of those of you that are writing on Duga for the first time, please make sure that you familiarize yourself with that. Make sure that I don't know if they've got a sandpit or whatever. Please make sure that you don't try and enroll and you're not enrolled, etc. So make sure that all of those things are sorted out beforehand. In terms of Duga as well, I've had a couple of students picked up because their eyes were wandering. So maybe watch the time on your clock, not on your watch, because the moment you turn away, we've had students that had issues in terms of disciplinary action as well. Okay, so just watch the clock, but you've got to divide your 2 hours up in terms of how many marks and what questions you can do at that point. Okay. Marily, anything from your side?
I think most have been said. So my big ones are, like you've said quite a few times, your priority is to learn the work, first of all, to know the work. Also, to make sure that those case studies you've read through it many times and also applied. It's a great benefit to get the case studies before the time. And then to practice with them as much as possible. But obviously that's everything that you've gone through. But yeah, my main thing is know the work. Then your timing is also better because you know the work. So yeah, that's pretty much
Thanks,
what I
Marily.
see.
Yeah. Thank you. Daniel, yeah, the question is, what is the likelihood that it will follow the similar format to previous years? I have a feeling that it's highly unlikely. Okay, guys, I have a feeling that it's highly unlikely that it's going to be similar to previous years. Okay.
I totally agree with that comment. I also think it's going to be a different format. If I just see what the semesters look like and what we've seen behind the scenes in terms of conversations we've had, and I know you're on the full-time campus, I'm on the full-time campus as well, so we're seeing both sides of it. I totally think it's going to be an interesting exam. So please make sure that you study very hard and application every step of the way.
To also just say, guys, before we create this monster of an exam, the test was very, very reasonable. So if what had happened in the test is mirrored in the exam, you're going to be absolutely fine. But we can't guarantee that. But it's not, we're not building a monster. So please don't be in flat panic. Do the work, do the foundational stuff. If you've done it properly, my students did really well in the test. And I think hopefully they do the same thing here. How did your students do in the face-to-face test? The full-time campus?
I had some full-time campus. I had 2 groups. My highest was 89 and my lowest was 42.
Yeah, so very, very similar to mine. Okay. So it's not going to be the monster that I think we worried it will be, but just be realistic in terms of how much work needs to go into this, guys.
Henny, I just want to answer with regards to questions about whether there's a choice of writing online or on campus. That should have been done already on registration. You should have been given you should have made your selection then. If you're not sure, guys, please log a ticket. Make sure that you know whether you're writing online or whether you're writing at a campus and which campus, so that you're well prepared. You don't want to be on a flat spin on the day and not know, where you need to be. And then the other thing I also just wanted to add is, with regards, just to add to what everybody else has already said, is the case studies are there. So sketch out a little framework, a skeleton of how to answer those questions. And that's the best way to learn the theory and then also to apply it. Because you've got the case study, you've got the theory, now see how the two tie in and which of those questions you can incorporate, which of those learning units that you can incorporate those objectives into the case studies. Then when you go in, you're not cold, you're not waiting to see what kind of question's going to come out, and you've already got a rough idea, and that will save you a lot of time, because once you've put your skeleton down, it's about fleshing it out and marrying everything to the exact question that will be answered. But there's a lot of information in these outlines and predictions that Dr. Henny's given us. So I think there's a lot of meat. You guys just now need to go and absorb it all, flesh it out, and run with it. So all the best.
Thanks, Jax, for that. Irene, I don't understand your question. Please advise the online where they need to refer to in terms of the exam sitting. I'm not sure what the question is. Do you want to unmute yourself and tell us?
Hi, Dr. Henny. Can you hear me?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I was simply saying that there's a lot of activity in the chat and a lot of people unsure of how this works. So Jacqueline just explained that. It's just getting a little bit confusing because we're trying to get to the gist of the exam. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Irene, for that. So in terms of the gist of the exam, number one, study your slides or your notes from 3 to 7. Non-negotiable, study that first. Once you've done that, take these suggested questions and I'm going to go, so this is the second part, where is that? Go and glance at these specific questions that are in the exam guidelines and complete these. So work out answers to these. There are questions specifically for each of the learning units. Okay, so do those and know those answers incredibly well. Once you've done that, I would then use these case studies that we've created here, these different case studies, including the predictions of what may be in the exam, etc. And I would answer these questions almost as if you're attempting an exam, right? Just to get a sense of where you are. You will also see in terms of each of these, this is the stuff you do the night before the exam. So just have a glance at these kind of priority areas. Now, remember, all of this is based on the content of the actual case study. Okay, and each of these have it. I see the one doesn't have the priority revision areas, but you can just refer in that instance to these kinds of exam themes. Okay. I think that is in summary of what these things are doing here. I don't know if that's enough, Irene. Okay, so it's a four-pronged attack essentially. Go and study your slides. Go and do those questions in the exam guidelines. Do attempt the questions in terms of these case study analyses that have been done, and then the night before look at these priority areas. And then obviously in the terms of the exam itself, watch your timing, etc., etc. Okay. Any other questions, guys? It's already on my WhatsApp group, Boyo. It's already on my WhatsApp group. It's on all the WhatsApp groups that I have for the different classes that I teach. So just check the WhatsApp group. Okay. But it will go on to ARC as well. So don't worry about that. Any other questions? Can I get final thoughts from the lecturers? I think I think it's in your hands now, guys, but we've given you plenty to work with in terms of your prep.
If I could just add something, so I know it looks quite scary, like you said earlier on this exam that potentially feels like it's all new and a new way of questions being asked with a new examiner. But from my other third year modules, this is actually quite a detailed brief. And with a lot of guidance. So I don't think we are, I think you are going in quite prepared if you use this brief. So I think we've been quite fortunate comparing to other third year modules to have guidance and these case studies. So please use them. Please use the guidance to prepare for your assessments.
Spot on, Kim. I mean, it's about calm. And remember what we said about the test. This is not the monster we're making it out. We are flying blind like you. But based on the test, I think you guys have got this. I think you will have it. It's as simple as that. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing really else from my side, guys. All of this will be shared, all the recordings will be shared. I think you'll have a pretty good idea. And yeah, good luck. Really good luck. Also, just my students on the WhatsApp group, please just, guys, use it as a community of practice, share stuff on there as we move towards the exam. I think that's always been the rule on the WhatsApp group. Use that, ask questions on there. I'll try and answer as many as possible. Please don't too many individual messages about the stuff to me, because it's better on the WhatsApp group. And if other people haven't answered it, I definitely would answer it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Esther, we can do that. Okay. Yeah, and good luck with the exams, guys. So if we, Ezra, so let's say this is the question, resources and capabilities. Okay. So in here, you would simply go, so you define what resources and capabilities are. Resources, things we have; capabilities, maximizing what we can get out of resources. And then you go and find examples of what resources they have in here. So there certainly is a suggestion that their platform is a significant resource. And then you go see what else is in here. And the kind of things that gives us an idea. Sorry, and I'm now rushing through this. Sorry, there's a whole bunch of things. So it's literally just taking from here and giving us an idea of those resources. Sorry, boy. So their platform, the variety. It's their app is a resource. People will be a resource. Their technology will be a resource, etc. But it's the stuff from here. So in terms of the questions in the exam, those questions would be obvious. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Just get the link together. It's okay, Ezra. Okay, guys, if there's nothing else, I'm going to call it quits. Thank you so much for attending. Absolute pleasure, Kim. Have a wonderful evening. Good luck with the exams. All of these documents will be available, and the recording will be available, or the link to recording will also be available. Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much, Kim M. Marilis, Jax, thank you so much. And also Kim for the previous recording. Much appreciated. Hey, cheers, guys. Cheers, all.